In the complicated year that is 2020, if you get the endorsement of the police union, will it help you win this election? Or does it help to put signs up that suggest you should be reelected, even if you're not the incumbent?
Here to tell us about some races to watch, Ken Dixon, state capitol reporter and columnist for Hearst, Connecticut. Welcome, Ken. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, folks.
The House currently is split 91-60, with the Democrats having 91. What are some races you are looking at as the GOP tries to increase its numbers there?
Well, increase or just try to hold at 60.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I would say it's the latter.
Where do you want to start?
Well, thanks for asking. Thanks for asking me on, because it allowed me to look at some stuff I might not have looked at otherwise. I like a couple of vacancies coming up. Chris Davis in that Ellington East Windsor seat is leaving. Highly respected Republican, ranking member of the Finance Committee, but he's got a young family. It's hard to make it on 32 grand a year.
Yep, and that's the 57th.
And the Republican candidate was slipped in there this summer to fill Chris Davis's vacancy, so he is a little bit of a disadvantage.
David Stavins, he's a civil engineer, but Chris was with us through the session,
right?
And well, anyway, he's a civil engineer. I'd like to see him on energy and technology. That'd be interesting. The Democrat is a research scientist named Jamie Foster. They both have town experience. It sounds, I'm told that the Democrats think that they can pull that off.
How about the 111th?
Yeah, the same thing in Ridgefield. John Fry's been there 22 years. Real estate guy. Bob Hebert is another real estate person. He's a Republican. The Democrats, Amy Berger Givallo, I think I'm not butchering the name, an autism therapist and a former business management person. Sounds like they're eminently qualified. And the Ds think that they can pull that out also. And
there are some trends there, I would imagine, with suburban voters that traditionally had been Republican who are now in the Trump era are moving toward Democrats. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. In a lot of these districts, I mean, like just going up to that Weston Reading thing, the 135th. I mean, the most liberal House Democrat, Ann Hughes, was elected in the wave 2 years ago in a town that was for decades and decades solidly Republican. And for some reason or other, John Shaben a lawyer wants to get back in the legislature and be underpaid for another couple of years.
And he's putting up the re-elect signs?
Yeah, but they're sitting in the garage. What are you going to do with them? You might as well just
yeah, right. How about the 104th?
First term Democrat, the only Democrat in the Naugatuck Valley, Cara Rochelle. She's a nonprofit administrator. She's getting hammered by a Republican woman of color named Myra Rivers. Really crazy billboards, defund police with Cara's picture on it, alluding to that police accountability bill that had nothing to do with defunding police. But that's like a statewide theme this election, because with no bills coming out of the legislature this year, there's not much to run on. Tolls were dropped in February, budget rolled in automatically.
You've probably seen that the police unions are much more active this year politically than in previous years. Do you have any sense of what impact that's going to have?
I think it's going to have no impact, and they're going to realize how little impact they do have.
Do we have time for 142nd?
Yeah, that's another first-term Democrat. Lucy Dathan lives in New Canaan, and 2 years ago they helped elect a Democrat. She's a consultant. Another former Republican House member, Fred Wilms, a banker, a finance guy, wants to get back in. That's a rematch. He's saying he's beyond partisanship. He would have voted against the police reform bill if he had been there. That's in his literature. Let's save Connecticut. That'll be another test for to see, what kind of blue wave is coming this year.
Ken, these state rep races tend to be very personal because the districts aren't that big, but we are in the midst of a global pandemic. How are candidates reaching voters?
Everybody I talk to is still going door to door. A lot of lit drops for sure, 4 or 5 lit drops. And there have been Zoom debates that have been pretty interesting. I watched the Zoom debate in the 135th between Ann Hughes and John Shaben, and it was Shaben was trying to in the suburbs, the Republicans are running against, quote, school regionalization.
Right.
Yeah, and that's that and affordable housing are a couple of.
Well, if our demographics in Connecticut don't change, we'll have school regionalization just because we're not going to have enough students to fill schools.
Hey, real quickly, while we have you, Ken, let's look at the 106th district, which is Newtown. Tell us a little about that race.
Sure. Mitch Belinsky's been in since 2013. He's a marketing consultant. He's Democratic challenger is this woman, Rebekah Harriman-Stites, who Mitch, as a marketing consultant, probably wasn't the best thing to put on social media, that Newtown doesn't need a pretty face and promises.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he apologized, but she's been able to go off on the sexist, misogynistic response.
Hey, Ken, we have to leave it there, but thank you very much. I know you'll be busy on election night. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Stay well.
You too. And join us again next Sunday for our post-election edition of Face the State.
Be sure to join us on election night for complete coverage starting at 4 p.m. here on Channel 3, and join Doobie and me and a great lineup of guests, including candidates, winners and losers, for our coverage starting at 8 p.m. live on Facebook and this Channel 3 streaming app.